somebody rips one off and they come home and they start ripping. Is when they need you.
Yeah, and teens aren't going to look you in the eye and say, you know what, when I make a mistake, I need you to be there, Mom and Dad. They're not going to express it that way, are they?
That's right. But you know, as we give them more freedom and they're able to do more things, and you know, they're just not in one classroom anymore. They're changing classrooms. They're able to participate with other kids. They're doing more sports. They're, you know, when they are going to make mistakes. And so this is your time to see whether what you've taught them has taken root in their life. So, and when they make a mistake, that you can kind of guide them back and say, no, here's some things for you to learn. Let's get you to a better point. So if they don't get this training from you, they will make bigger and bigger mistakes as they grow, and some that will take them to a place that they don't want to be. And so you're kind of the life preserver here, Mom and Dad. This is important.
And I've heard you say this over and over again, but it bears repeating that we need to raise teens so that they become independent and take responsibility.
Absolutely, because that's the only way we get maturity. And somebody says, why do we want maturity? Well, we want them to be mature in their decision making, mature in their choices that they make. You know, that we want them to be mature in the way that they gather information and the way they accept wisdom. I want them to be mature in the way they have conversations. And so if a parent is so controlling, you know, over a child like they were during the preteen years, then that might push the child back in other ways, and it stunts their growth. And so I want them to be increasingly independent and take on more responsibility, but it doesn't mean that I get to be absent in the process. It means I'm moving from a teaching mode to a training mode, and now I'm helping them as I give them more independence, more freedoms, and more responsibility.
Because they need parents to be there to teach them those responsibilities. And parents who coast don't understand that teens are changing as they grow, too. We've got to change with them.
You know, it's whatever is happening over this next couple of years after middle school that will determine everything else. And if you've been a listener of our radio program, or you've read anything that I've written about, what you will find is this, that all the kids that come and live with us, and these are kids who have messed up and caused problems and are struggling through their adolescent years, it all started in middle school. And it blinded the parents. And so the parents were off guard, going, what in the world is going on? This is a time of dramatic mental, emotional, spiritual, and social growth for your child. And so if parents treat their child like they did when they were 8 or 10, they'll miss out on this new and special person that is blossoming before them. And you won't have the opportunity to kind of guide and direct that child as they grow, and they'll start growing away from you toward those things that offer them that sense of value, that sense of relationship, that sense of presence in their life. And so it's important for parents to go, okay, these are some things that we can do and to help our child during the time that they need us the most.
All right, well, instead of coasting, how can we be involved with our kids? Give us some ideas.
Yeah. The first thing is give your time. I mean, just give your time. I mean, without the investment of time, relationships don't grow deep, they don't grow stronger. And be generous with your time. Plan one-on-one time with your teen. Take them out for coffee or ice cream or a dinner just once a week, where you sit and listen and you ask a lot of questions. You know, when you're together, focus on your child, not on your phone, not on your work. Don't be distracted by other people. When you're at a restaurant and there's other people there, ignore them and go spend time with your child. Quit doing everything for everybody else and spend the time during this next few years that's going to bring about a strong sense of reward for your family.
And I like it when you say, let your teen make mistakes, but be there for them when they mess up.
Well, absolutely. I mean, when they mess up, I want to be right there with them, letting them know that I messed up as well. And so, I want to make sure that I am honest about my own shortcomings and my own mistakes, and encourage them, not discourage them. I want them to know that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not have everything together. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to be disheveled a little bit. It's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to be at a point where you're searching for something different. That's the beauty of a presence of a mom and dad that's involved in the life of their teen. Let your kids process out loud. Let them talk about things they wouldn't normally talk about. Allow them to have their own opinions. But mom, dad, you got to do this. You've got to be your teen. As he or she grows up, you've got to study how they mature, how they change, and encourage them just as often as you can.
By the way, this applies to grandparents as well. And Mark has written a book called Grandparenting Teens, a practical guide for loving your grandkids in the 21st century. Look for that book online at parentingtodaysteens.org. On this program, we cover relevant topics about you and your teen. But in between these once-a-week conversations, you'll find even more advice and wisdom at parentingtodaysteens.org.
Hey, the challenges you face with your family can't wait. And so we provide relevant, accessible materials online because we know that when you need parenting help, you need it now. Access our blog articles, ebooks, the mobile app, and more anytime of the day or night.
Go online to parentingtodaysteens.org. Sign up for the newsletter. Find out where Mark is teaching next. Get info on the Heartlight Residential Counseling Center and read through all sorts of material Mark has written for you. Again, you'll find all these resources at parentingtodaysteens.org. That's parentingtodaysteens.org.
Hey, take advantage of the parenting advice waiting for you online.
Go to parentingtodaysteens.org. That's parentingtodaysteens.org.
Kevin, thanks for being a part of this. Tell me, where are you from?
I'm from San Antonio.
Okay, so San Antonio, are teens from San Antonio any different than teens from Kansas City?
No, and I didn't realize that until I got sent here. But because there's people from all over the place, and so it was pretty easy just being here and then realizing I'm the same as everyone else.
Yeah. Okay, let me go to the very end of the statement. Where would you be if you had not come here?
I think I got sent away at a really good time, really, because I was starting to get into more than just smoking weed, and I was starting to do acid every once in a while, and so I got sent away, and I feel like at the perfect time.
Well, so at first you didn't like it, I'm sure.
No, it took a while for it to grow on me.
Yeah, so how long was that while? How long was it before you go, maybe this isn't a bad thing?
Right. It took probably a few months for me to really see everything I could give out of this place and how much it could really help me and my family.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty close-minded to the change that I had potential to make. I didn't want to make the changes.
Yeah. Okay, so so the drugs were an issue before, but what drove you to the drugs that made that so much attractive, I guess?
Right. It was just depression and anxiety, and the anxiety has been around for second grade. I've always been a pretty anxious kid, and I got diagnosed with depression when I was in 5th grade, and I started taking medicine for it.
Wow.
But it wasn't really bad up until 9th grade. I had just gotten out of a relationship with my ex, and also at the same time I was playing basketball, but then I got in trouble for something, and my basketball coach, I was a starter, and then I was a bench warmer out of nowhere. And so at that point, my depression was at its highest and my self-worth was at its lowest. And so I had no identity anymore. I didn't know who I was because for all my life I was a basketball player.
And I was wrapped up in that.
Yeah, I was a student athlete, and all of a sudden I wasn't, and I was no one. I felt like I was no one to anyone.
What did you get in trouble for?
It was it was something I hit a vape, and so someone offered it to me, and I was like, okay, I didn't really think it was a big deal at the time, and then my coach found out about it and just
Yeah, in the bigger scheme of things, that's
Right.
such a small thing.
yeah,
But for it to knock you out of sports and set you on a path somewhere, I mean, it
Yeah.
makes it a bigger thing.
right, yeah, and I just had no idea like what I was getting myself into when I did that.
Wow. So after you started using, beat yourself up at night when you go to sleep and think about stuff going, I shouldn't be doing this.
Right, and what really bothered me was I could see my parents and I like relationship falling apart in front of my eyes, and I could see that they weren't approving of what I was doing, and it did bug me, but at the same time, like they were also bothering me, and so I like fully convinced myself that I didn't care about them anymore.
Okay,
Like,
you say like they were bugging you, like
Right.
in what way?
I just felt like I was never doing good for them, and I felt like everything I did, it wasn't enough because my sister, super smart, like she gets straight A's, and they were also both doctors, and so in like school, I never felt like I could live up to what my parents did and what my sister's doing, and so like as far as academics, I wasn't doing good enough. I felt like, and then my sister was playing basketball too, and I felt like she got a lot more praise and more recognition than me. And so all of a sudden, like, I'm not even the basketball player of the family, you know. And it's like what I pride myself over is not even like I'm not even the best at it in the family, you know. And so
You're just getting kicked right and left,
yeah,
it seems like.
right. And that's where I always screwed myself over, was just comparing myself to other people, you know. And I didn't really ever look at the good what I had to bring to the table. I didn't give myself enough recognition.
Yeah. Still hurt a little bit now.
It does, but I've learned to love myself more in the time that I've been here, and like love the things that I have, like recognize what I can bring to the table and what I can do for other people and for
Yeah.
myself.
You think that the drugs that you were taking were kind of to get rid of some of those feelings you were having?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Like eventually, it stopped. Like I stopped doing it for fun, you know, and that's what it started. I started doing it because I didn't know what else to do, and I continued to do it because I had a good time doing it. But eventually, it was just so much built-up pain and built-up problems that I didn't deal with, and I would just continue to bury them down by smoking more and more, and I just never dealt with anything until I got here.
Wow. So now you're reconnected with people. I mean, God, you're just one of these fine, upstanding, great guys that I go. I mean, there's a part of me that it's hard for me to believe of you not getting along with people, or even being depressed, or even being anxious. That's
Right.
not what I see in you.
Yeah.
You think you beat it?
I think it's still a struggle to this day, and I think it's something that I've learned to be comfortable in the anxiety that I have. Like, it doesn't dictate my day, and it doesn't dictate my mood anymore. But as far as like being so wrapped up in the drug problems that I had, it hasn't been an issue
Yeah.
for a long time.
Good.
These past few breaks have just been a breeze,
Well,
really.
getting along with your family and stuff.
Yeah, it's been a lot better.
Okay, if you can snap your fingers like this and change one thing about yourself right now, that you go, this is what I would love to change. This is what I'd love to be different. What
I
would
wish
it be?
I wasn't as much of a perfectionist, and I wish I would be able to recognize that what I'm doing is good, but not beat myself over it if it's not to the best of its ability.
Perfect.
You know? Yeah, because like the bar is just so high for myself, and if I'm not clearing it, then my self-worth is lowering, and my self-worth, it'll like, it's so easy to tear down, but it's so hard to build back up.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times it's because of how high the bar is and how high my standard is for myself.
Where do you get your self-worth from? What's the biggest thing that contributes to your self-worth?
What I realized is when I was at home, it was all coming from other people. And it was from my ex-girlfriend at the time, and it was from my basketball coach and my parents. But it was just so easy to like all fall apart. It was either super high or it was all of a sudden super low. And so I'm just more aware of what I have bring to the table now, and I'm more aware of my strengths. And so I guess I would see the things that I'm doing to help other people more often, and through that, like, I'm more comfortable in myself because I'm seeing people enjoy being around me and I'm helping them.
Well, I know people enjoy being around you.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody here loves you. You don't hear anything negative about you at all. I mean, truly. I mean, I don't hear, and I listen well, but I don't hear one negative thing. And you and I get to be in the same group together, and I get to listen to your comments to the kids, and I go, they're valuable, and you're insightful in what you do, and so keep doing that.
Right.
Cool. Well, look, thanks for coming in and sharing
Absolutely.
your thoughts
Thanks for having me.
and everything. You're a stud, man. You're just a stud.
Thank you. That's cool.
Right.
When they feel like they're drowning, moms and dads depend on Parenting Today's Teens as their lifeline. You might be listening today wondering how you can help. This nonprofit ministry provides compassion and creative ideas to parents. Your donation today will extend the lifeline to a mom or dad who's desperately looking for help. Go to parentingtodaysteens.org and click on the Donate Now button. That's parentingtodaysteens.org. parentingtodaysteens.org.
Mark, once again, I got to say it, but when we meet these teens on Parenting Today's Teens, I mean, Kevin, for example, what a great young man.
You know, he's a wonderful young man, and you know, this is probably one of these kids that if I live long enough, I'll see him turn 50. You know, I mean, he's just one of those guys that it's interesting to me that he has wonderful parents, comes from a wonderful home, and yet inside of him there was something that said you're not good enough, you can't measure up. And instead of parents, you know, walking away and saying, well, he can take care of himself during his high school years, they move toward him to help him through those things. And so now you have him talking. He's just a wonderful, wonderful young man. But I think it shows this, that any kid needs help during their adolescent years. I don't care whether you've done a wonderful job of being a parent or a lousy job of being a parent, they still need somebody to walk alongside them and help them, you know, kind of transition everything they've learned into a life that is truly worthy of what a mom and dad want for their kids.
Here's a parent who doesn't want to coast, but they ask this question: how do I get to know my teen again when he won't talk to me, he won't engage in conversation?
Yeah. You know, I get this a lot because they say, kids always talk to you. And I said, well, you know, here's the benefit. I don't have to correct them all the time. I don't have to hold them to consequences. You know, I eliminate some of the barriers to honesty at times. And I think that parents have got to develop a place where it's safe to talk, that there's still consequences for, you know, inappropriate behavior. But when a child shares their thoughts, it may be a child who says that, you know, I don't believe that abortion's wrong. I don't think that there's anything wrong with this. I think that it's okay for this, okay? Anything that's controversial, anytime you talk about religion or politics, that there's got to be safety in the atmosphere that allows a child to express themselves, because they're usually processing out loud. So you've got to ask yourself, you know, the question, am I creating an atmosphere where my child wants to talk? And when I ask them questions, am I interrogating them, or am I really trying to be a student of my child to find out and learn more about them? There's a big difference between the two, and kids can smell the difference between both of those. And so I would ask first, what are you doing, mom or dad? What are you doing to create the atmosphere where your child wants to talk? So spend some time looking at that first, then try to think about, okay, how do I ask questions and engage differently?
All right. More from Mark here in just a moment, but our Families in Crisis Conference series continues. You can check that out online at parentingtodaysteens.org. And there's also resources at the same website. For instance, Mark's book called Grandparenting Teens, a practical guide for living your grandkids in the 21st century. Find this book and many other resources at parentingtodaysteens.org, or you can call us as well. Our phone number is 866-700-FAMILY, 866-700-3264. But I recommend the website. Also, make sure that you listen to the podcast version of this program and share that link with other parents who will benefit as well. Well, Mark, thank you for this help here today. Why don't you take a moment and wrap things up for us as we end this edition of Parenting Today's Teens.
Hey, moms and dads, the role you play during your child's teen years may just be the most important and influential one of their lives. Most parents never realize the significance of their example that is displayed before their teen, thus they never embrace the need to spend time not only talking the talk, but walking the walk. And if you're one of those parents that believe your authority and power of parenting lies in the words that you share with your teen, then you'll never have as much influence as those who not only share the gospel, but share their lives as well as you engage with your teens. Your teen needs a living example of the biblical truths that you've taught. They need to see the Word of God fleshed out in their life, and they desire to see a life that is blameless, full of truth, full of grace, and one that doesn't walk away when they make mistakes.
Parenting Today's Teens is a production of and sponsored by Heart Ministries.
Thanks for listening to Parenting Today's Teens with Mark Gregston. If you enjoy the advice you receive on this